Hi, I'm Miss Cindy's Kitchen. I'm going to show you how to make a walnut pie. And this is from the California Walnut Council. We happen to have a lot of walnuts on hand, and we really love pecan pie, and I thought, why not try a walnut pie? It kind of has a similar flavor profile. So, for the crust, it calls for 1 cup, which is 2 sticks of unsalted butter. See, it's some naked sticks of butter. I already took their wrappers off. And 5 tablespoons of white sugar, to which I added 1/2 teaspoon of salt, just to get things together. 1 egg, I've already cracked it into a dish. And 2 1/4 cups of regular all-purpose flour. And for shorthand, you can call this AP flour, which is all-purpose flour.
All-purpose flour, okay.
So for the butter, we're going to cut it into approximately tablespoon-sized pieces. And then we're going to blend it in the food processor, which might be deafening, so we can mute that out for the video, because the food processor is from the 80s, but back then they made appliances to last, so.
It's a Cuisinart, right?
Yeah. All right. Ugh.
So they look like little pats of butter.
Pretty much. They go pitter-pat, like a butter pat. So, I just put this away, so I have to unwind the cord. This thing weighs a good solid 10 pounds, just the motor of it. But you know what? It works, and it does its job. And I normally keep the shredder blade in here for the carrots that I make for carrot cake. But we don't need this one right now. So we're going to put in the blade. And this is actually a very wicked looking blade, and it's very sharp. And that's why I keep it in a bottom drawer out of the way, so nobody will come across it by accident. Alright. Because this is the way it fits together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in the flour. It says to mix everything together in the food processor. This is a brand new recipe for me too. So 2 sticks of butter. It just says to put everything in, and you're going to pulse it until it is blended.
Now this is just the crust, right?
Yes, this is the crust. When you make a pie, you have to make the crust first. And the sugar and salt. And 1 egg. Isn't that a nice, healthy looking yolk?
Sure is.
I think these were a package of free range eggs we were given. Guess the chickens were happy when they laid them. Always gotta have a scraper handy. So let's clear up just a little bit. And all right. Okay, this is going to be loud, so I'm not going to talk, so we can end up muting this out during the video. All right, I'm going to scrape it down. See the dough's starting to come together.
Yep.
And so, whoops, make a big mess here. It says to scrape it down and push it into the blades, is what the directions say. All right, and we're going to keep on blending.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna push it down again and make sure it's all blended. Ooh, it's got a nice consistency. It's almost where it needs to be, so. All right. I think that's good. So, what we're gonna do next is clear up the counter a little bit. I'm going to move this over to where it's more convenient for me. And I did find my pastry mat. It had just fallen behind something. But I found it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put the dough between wax paper.
Okay.
And then roll it out to 12 inches.
Okay.
So let me grab the rolling pin. I almost forgot that. All right. My handy dandy rolling pin. It used to belong to my grandmother. It's always nice to have family heirlooms. And it looks like I'm about out of wax paper. Oh well. I will use some parchment.
That's not enough?
Not for both sides.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So, it's the same purpose, to keep things from sticking.
Okay.
But parchment is oven safe, wax paper is not. People often ask what's the difference. So we're going to get the dough and put it on here. Okay. Just want to keep my hands away from the blade.
Yeah, I would say watch your fingers.
Yeah, it's mostly above the blade. I just got to move it around a little bit. But again, this is the first time making this particular recipe, but it sounded so delicious, I wanted to bring you all along for the ride. So if you find yourself in possession of a lot of walnuts this year, you now have another way you can use them. All right. So I'm going to take the pastry and just smush it together into a cake. And it did say to only use 2/3 of the dough. So I don't know why you have a whole batch of dough if you're only going to use 2/3 of it. So I'm just going to take a tiny bit off because I'm using a deep dish pie plate. And I want to make sure I have enough pie crust to go all the way up the sides. So we're going to form this into a bit of a circle. And then we're going to put the other piece of wax paper on it. And it looks like it's not going to be entirely wide enough, but that's okay. I'm going to roll it out until we get to 12 inches. And for those of you that know me well, pie making is not my strong point, but that's one thing I'm going to be working on this season because I love to bake and I want to start making more pies. So it'll be a work in progress. It's kind of round. Now what's nice about having a pastry mat, you can use that for a guide. Kind of like Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio.
He's more of a conscience.
Yeah, and our society needs to have one of those. All right. So I think that is about 12 inches. Let me just take a peek here. Yeah. Okay. Now what it says to do is to take off one of the pieces of wax paper. And then...
That's actually parchment, right?
This is parchment, that was wax.
Okay.
But the point of this is the same. We're going to take the crust That actually looks really thick right there. I don't like the way that looks, so let me just roll it out a little bit more. Just on this side. Because we're using a deep dish pie plate, so it might need a little bit more dough. And yes, I know I got it on the rolling pin, but that's okay. It's all good. So, there's one of two ways we can transfer dough. And one way I've seen before is to invert the pie pan and then work on inverting the dough. Again, pie making is not my strong suit, but I wanted to learn more pie making, so I'm trying something new.
Well, with the holidays coming, I mean,
Yep.
this is the perfect time to learn how to make pies.
Exactly. This is going to stick more than wax paper. That's the thing for the parchment, but that's okay. All right, I'm an experienced home cook, but pies, I have not made that much pies, so we are learning here. So, learning a new skill, it's all about progress, not perfection. So, the pie crust isn't beautiful, but it'll sure taste good. All right. So if you're just learning a new thing over the holidays, just know that even me as an experienced home cook with a lot of experience under my belt, still is having a little bit of a challenge with this pie crust. So any tips y'all have on pie crust, let me know. I'm learning, and I'm a very humble cook. I welcome feedback and tips and tricks on how to make things better or make the process easier. So those of you who know your way around the kitchen, feel free to give me some tips and advice, because I welcome all feedback. If you're doing it in the spirit of sharing information, if you're doing it in the spirit of being mean, you're on the wrong channel.
Yeah.
So, we have enough YouTubers out there who get criticized for being human beings. People who do that need another hobby. Alright. I cannot flute a pie crust to save myself, but I'm learning a new skill and I wanted to try this out. So, what do you think? Getting a little...
Not
It looks
bad.
kind of like Mount Rushmore before they carved the faces into it.
Not too bad. What do you think? What do you think, Maddie?
Just use a fork.
Well, it says to flute, but this would be to, I want to smooth it out. Because the fork is good for sealing a crust.
Well, can't you just take a knife to the top of it and smooth it out?
I could.
The edge of it?
Yeah.
It's the one piece of pie crust I've ever seen.
Yeah, so
The longest piece of pie crust you've ever seen?
Lumpiest.
so lumpiest.
Oh. All right, well, you know. It's a work in progress.
It doesn't look that bad. I've seen worse.
Oh, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, stick around. We got a ways to go with this one yet. All right. Oh my goodness.
Doesn't look that bad.
Well, it is October. We can call it a Frankenstein pie crust. You
Okay.
know, we're patching it together.
I don't think any pet names will make it.
All right. Okay. Well, you know. Anyway, so I'm gonna put this in the oven for I already forgot the amount of time for the oven.
It's over there.
For about 10 minutes, and then that's gonna brown the crust, and then we're gonna weigh it down with some heavy-duty foil, so that way it holds it down. This is just looking so weird. Hold on a second. I got an idea. Hold on a second.
She's looking through her bag of tricks there.
Oh yeah. I'm Mary Poppins with kitchen tools. This is a it's a dough roller. I'm gonna use this to smooth out the edges. All right.
It's not actually not a bad idea.
So. All right. So. All right. Yeah. I'm just going to call it good before I make it worse. All right. So let's put some heavy duty foil down. And my hands are all greasy from the pie crust. All right. So, heavy duty foil for the pie crust. So, and all right. It says to make a 12-inch square to go over your 12-inch circle, which I find funny because the only time circles and squares goes together is when you have pizzas and pizza boxes.
That's actually true.
So we're going to put this in the oven, and then we'll bring you back when we're ready for the next step. And the pie crust is done. After 12 minutes, I took off the foil insert and let it bake for 5 minutes without anything on it. And, well, it slipped a little bit. All right, I have to get over to the cooling rack. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So now you can admire the lopsided crust first attempt.
Hey, for your first attempt, that's not too bad.
So the crust baked at 425 for 12 minutes with the foil insert in it, and then an additional 5 without the foil insert. And then I just took it out, and it's going to sit and cool off while we make the filling. And the filled pie will bake at 350. So I've dropped the temperature down to 350.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to make the filling. So we have 3 eggs that we'll beat lightly, which basically is just to break open the yolks. I got fuzz from somewhere. All right. So 3 yolks. You can tell the difference in the 2 batches of eggs. 2 had dark yolks and 1 was just kind of a regular yellow yolk. So 3 eggs, 2 cups of packed brown sugar, 1 stick of melted butter, and because it's walnut pie, 3 cups of walnuts.
3 cups of walnuts.
This is the measured out 3 cups of walnuts.
Wow.
So I read reviews on this recipe, and someone recommended to increase the filling a little bit to fill up the pie shell better. And since I'm using a deep dish pie shell, I decided to go with a larger amount of filling. And that is the adjusted amounts that I just gave you. A stick of butter, 2 cups brown sugar, 3 eggs.
And 3 cups of...
And 3 cups of walnuts.
Okay.
We're going to mix these 3 things in the mixer. Then we'll take it off and then mix in the nuts. So, sorry. You can come over here and look at the mixer if you want.
Yeah, we'll come over and look at the mixer.
All right. Where am I getting all this fuzz from? Ooh. All right.
You've been like secretly seeing a rabbit or something.
I have no idea. This fuzz is weird. It's like the police, the fuzz. All right. Hot Fuzz, yes. That is a great movie. All right. Along with At World's End and Shaun of the Dead. Those are a great triple header for October for your Halloween season viewing. All right. So we got the butter in there, and then we're going to add in the 2 cups of brown sugar and the yolks, the eggs, yolks and all. All right. It looks really rich, like a pecan pie filling. So me bring the recipe back up. Alright. It says beat it until well mixed. Alright. So we're going to turn it off and scrape down the sides. Make sure everything is all mixed and incorporated. Alright. Mix, 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 mix. Alright. That looks well mixed to me. So let me go ahead and drop this down. My kitchen equipment may be older and hand-me-down, but it's definitely a workhorse. A dear family friend passed, gosh, it's been almost 18 years. And she had recently remodeled her kitchen and had this beautiful mixer, and her family gave it to my parents to give to me because she knew I loved to bake. So it's nice, you get to remember dear family friends when you use their kitchen equipment. All right, so let's bring this back around.
All right.
And we're going to take our 3 cups of nuts. And it says halves and large pieces. Some of these are actually whole pieces, but it's all good. And just put them in there as is. And what I did with the walnuts is I took them out of the bag that they were in, put them in a colander, and shook out all the dusty crumb pieces of walnuts. And then I sorted through them to make sure there wasn't any shells or bits of the little separator membrane that walnuts have in them. So that's always an unpleasant surprise when you're enjoying a walnut goodie and all of a sudden you get something hard that you weren't expecting. All right. So, forgive the way the pie crust looks. It's a work in progress. The next time I make this, I'll get better at it. But just so you know...
It's looking at me.
Yes. Just so you know, you don't have to be perfect when you bake. As long as you do your best and bake it with love, your family will appreciate it. Doesn't that look yummy? Sugar and butter and egg and walnuts. And in the near future, I'm going to try making this into tart size. Like mini walnut pies.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see how that works out. So I'm going to put this beauty back in the oven for 35 minutes at 350. And then we'll bring you back and show you how yummy it looks. Alright, and our pie baked at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. It was getting a little done. And it looks like everything came out the same color, but I'm sure it's going to taste great. So make sure you like and subscribe and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And come back again soon when it's cool enough for a taste test. And we're back, and the walnut pie has cooled off a little bit. And I made some freshly whipped cream.
Ooh.
And the easiest way to make whipped cream is you buy this little carton and you put it in a mixing bowl and whip it good. It takes a little bit of time to whip.
Okay.
But this way it's just pure whipping cream. So now we're going to cut a slice of pie. Ooh, it's nice and syrupy. Ooh, this looks good. Whoops. A little bit of crust. Alright. I'll need to work on the consistency of this pie, but for a first attempt at a new recipe, we shall see how it turns out. Ooh. Yum, and then let's put some...
Apparently the dogs are having an argument.
some whipped cream. Well, I guess if nobody else is available, I'll do the taste test.
All right.
Get a little bit of the walnuts and the filling and the cream. Gotta blow on it. Mmm. That's really good. It's really syrupy. Almost like a little bit like a baklava, but with whole walnuts. So, anyway, thank you for joining us as I try a new recipe. As you can tell, it's a work in progress. The next time will come better. And I think I'm going to try making this in tart form into little bitty mini pies. So maybe I'll show that to you guys in a future episode. But thank you again for joining us. Make sure you've liked and subscribed and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And come back again soon.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.